Good morning, community. How are you? Jenenne Macklin here, your transformational speaker, wealth guide, and catalyst. And I'm on the road again. That is my hiking trail road. I am here on time, on point, and waiting on you. Good morning to the West Coast. We're waking up to beautiful skies and sunshine. Good morning to the East Coast, holding you in prayer, because there's always something going on the East Coast. It's raining, it's hurricanes, it's tornadoes, it's heat, it's something. But holding us all in a place of health and wholeness as we get started. I wanted to hop on today to really ask you a simple question for Wednesday Wisdom, is for you to check yourself. You check yourself. So, in spite of the fact that I'm a clinical therapist by profession, that my whole life was social work, I loved it. I've had every job that I wanted to have. I've enjoyed every job I had. I wasn't, one of those people that complained about work. I truly followed the calling that was placed in my heart at a young age. And that was to work with children. And I did my whole career. And yet, in the midst of this, I needed to pull back a little bit and ask you to check yourself. There's so much. There's so much. And I always try and drill into just one little thing. This is pretty. I want you to see this. I'm walking through this, so it just feels pretty to me, like I'm walking through some magical garden or something. The leaves are greeting me, and the are they jackrabbits? The little bunny rabbits with the cottontails are running and scurrying, and now I'm out of it. But I want you to check yourself, and there's 3 things that I want you to check, and here's the reason why. I pretty much navigated this whole year through prayer, through meditation, and through hopping on and encouraging you and supporting you, and exercising as much as possible, and navigating my weight by not eating everything that comes my way to give me a bit of a balance. But I'd have to say there were some days that I knew I was clearly tired. There were some days I was just tired. And part of that I realized was the heaviness of the energy on the planet. Transformation is a heavy energy because you have this push and pull. You have people saying, yeah, we want to do it. You have other people saying, no, I don't want to do it. You have other people saying, I'm not sure. So this push and pull to really cultivate something new and bring that into expression on this planet, it's a heavy energy. And I know some days I can just say to myself, God, I'm just tired. Now, mind you, I haven't done anything, but I just feel tired. And as I listen to this second lockdown that's coming, and I'm sorry, I believe it's necessary. I just don't get why we won't just stop for 2 or 3 months, let this situation subside, and then go on about life from there. We are truly demonstrating who we are. In that, we want to still be who we are in the midst of a storm, so to speak. We don't want to shift gears. We don't want to wear masks. We don't want to stay home. We don't want to, accept that things have really changed. I want to keep pushing through, doing what we do and what we've always done. So it makes it heavy. It's like when you've had a breakup and you decide to come back together and you have to have that tough talk. That can be uncomfortable, right? You got to be honest. You got to be transparent. You got to be vulnerable. So there's this sense that, oh, well, what will happen to me if I do that? Well, we're at that place. So I'm in agreement with it. Clearly, once the hospital bed gets full, that means nobody can get any services. And I was going to travel. Honestly, I was going to travel to Cancun in December. It was the one place that I thought we could still get in. But now it's really becoming complicated because they're talking about the vaccine. I, of course, was not going to take the vaccine. You can't make me. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's there. You're trying to connect me with chips and G5 and all that. But as I listen today, it seems like there's going to be a vaccine. And then I hear people travel and they get to one place and they've taken the vaccine, but it's not the right vaccine because different states have different vaccines. I'm like, what kind of craziness is that? But what I realized for many of you it really may be time for you to check yourself around your feelings. How are you navigating your, what we would call, mental health? Remember, I'm a social worker by profession. How are you navigating your mental health in this scenario? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? What's gnawing at you deep down inside? What are the unspoken fears or the unspoken worries? Where do you find yourself in knowing you, in the normal you that you are? Where are you? So that's where I really want you to start. First of all, I want you to get someplace quiet, away from the kids, the husband, the family, the children, or maybe you even by yourself. And ask yourself the simple questions. How am I feeling? Now, I don't want your words to be the answer. I want you to really drop into your heart. So put your hand over your heart and just sit there with your heart and just ask yourself, how are you feeling? This is where they fall down on me and they greet me when I walk through here. I know it's all just for me, right? They're all hanging down to greet me in the morning. It's like, yay, I'm being showered in the leaves. So in that stillness, ask yourself, how am I? And I want you to use a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being you're on the top of your game. You know, you're making things happen. If it's simply cleaning out your garage, having a yard sale, helping your kids with homework, you had your savings, you had your emergency fund, so you're doing okay. 1 is you're barely holding on. 5 or 6, you know, you could go either way. But you know there's certain things at 5 that you can do that'll take you toward 1. Or there's certain things at 5 that you can do that will ultimately take you toward 10. But I want you to get a gauge on you. Happy, sad, elated, disappointed, frustrated. Those are all the words that we use. But what's the feeling here inside of you? That's the first thing I want you to ask yourself. How am I doing? On a scale of 1 to 10, where am I? And then depending on where you fall there, I want you to go down deeper and ask yourself, what's your biggest fear? What's your biggest fear? Because even though you may not verbalize it, you may not share it with anyone, you may not say anything, it's still inside of you. You're still holding it and carrying that fear energy. So what is that? Now that, I want you to write that down on a piece of paper. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my job. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my home. I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to feed my children. I'm afraid I'm gonna run out of my medication. I'm afraid I'm gonna be unhealthy in my eating and get sick. I'm afraid the kids aren't gonna go back to school and my children are basically gonna miss a year of education. I'm afraid of my lights being cut off or my gas, electricity being cut off. Whatever it is, I want you to identify that for yourself and write that down on a piece of paper. And I don't want you to write that in the affirmative way that we do affirmations where you say, I am afraid. I want you to say, I apostrophe am. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. Why? Because if you get it out from holding it in here, it frees you up. Write it on a piece of paper. Now let's walk it out. What's the fear? And I realize some of these fears are very, very real. I can only speak from my experience of having made it out of debt and having made it to places of understanding money better, to have built a savings account, built an emergency fund, you know, my investments and everything, as well as having money in my savings and in my accounts, money at home rather, that the biggest thing for me is just not having the mobility. But I know for many of you, it may be deeper than that. So I want you to identify it. I want you to take it out from sitting in here, in your heart, on your heart, weighing your heart down, weighing your head, because you're sitting there. The thing about worry is it's just a cycle. It goes around and around and around. But I want us to begin to look at some solutions. So the first thing is to identify it, write it down. Well, the first thing is to get your general gauge, 1 to 10. Where are you? 6, 7, 9, 2, and that will vary from day to day. The next thing is to look at what your fears are. What are you concerned about? What are you worried about? Is there any points or places in there where you just think, I can't do it, I can't be here anymore, or I don't want to do it, I can't be here anymore. It's time for me to be out. When you're at those particular places, I'm hoping that you have someone that you can call and talk to. I'm hoping that you have someone that you trust with telling the honest truth to. You know, I can't do this. It's too much. It's driving me crazy between the election and between the sitting person not wanting to leave office, between jobs, between not having the stimulus check, between my children, between it all. It's just so overwhelming. I want you to be able to verbalize that, to say that to yourself or to someone that you love very dearly, who's not going to hold it against you, who's not going to judge you, nothing like that. And then with them together, I want you to consider a solution. Now, if you're anything like my family was, hopefully we've grown. Mental health services really wasn't something big that we were willing to take access to and take advantage of. Everyone else seems to go and get mental health services but us. And I mean people of color, period. Certainly African American, black folks, and brown folks. It's like, well, we ain't going to tell anybody our business. And if you're still there, then I want you to at least find a close friend that you can trust. And with that person, be willing to share the truth. With that person, be willing to tell the truth. With that person, be willing to acknowledge that I'm having a hard time. I can't do this. Hi, John and Wilson. How are you today? For those of you, though, who are more willing, then I would say seek mental health services. I enjoyed being a social worker. I enjoyed helping clients look for solutions and possibilities to live their best life, basically. To identify what were those scenarios, what were the conversations in their head, what was the repetitive behavior that they were doing that continued to put them in the same situation. I know we grew up with, don't be telling anybody our business, but we live in a world where everybody knows our business. You know, they track our phones. You know, they track our televisions. We know they track what shows we look at. They track everything. So when we're sitting there saying, well, I don't want to tell you about my business, they probably know half your business already. So this is about you getting the help that you need for you. So the 3 things to check yourself. Get a gauge on where you are from where your normal living was, like this time last year in June, from 0 to 10. Where do you fall? 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. So you can get a gauge for yourself. Then I want you to ask yourself the question, what are you afraid of? And the reason why I say fear, and I started with that, is because I know people are anxious about the vaccine. I wasn't going to take the vaccine. I was real clear. I'm not taking the vaccine. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what they're trying to do to us. I don't know if what they're creating is for all people. Is it going to have the same effect on everyone, you know, as it relates to our divine makeup? Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know. So I was real clear. I'd let them take it and I'll wait and see what happens. But then I kind of heard today that it seems like before you can travel, before you can go here, before you can go there, you may very well have to show on your phone that you've taken the vaccine. So it's like that's being taken away from me, so to speak. And I guess it makes sense. It's a pandemic. Everybody's being impacted by it. So maybe it's like chicken pox and what else? I remember I have the symbol on my arm. I know I got chicken pox, but I didn't have measles. So back then you only took the vaccine if you had whatever it was. But this seems to be whether you have it or not, you might have to take it. And so that's why I asked you about what you're afraid of, because that may create some anxiety for many of you, or many of us. I mean, if I take it, fine, I'll take it. I'll trust God, life, and the universe to keep me protected and know that whatever it is won't make me sick and isn't going to hurt me. But you know, it's that issue of having some say so in what happens with yourself and your body. So that's what it is for me. I'm very conscious about what I eat. I'm conscious about my exercise. So I want to be conscious about that decision. But it's the piece around the anxiety that I want you to possibly be able to look at for yourself or for others. Are you anxious? Are you worried? Are you fearful? Are you mad? Are you frustrated? That it would seem, because we never know the whole truth, that man has created some virus in a lab somewhere, maybe in China, maybe somewhere else, that ended up here on purpose, intentionally, and now it's spread. And so now we have to do something in response to something else. But what I want you to tap into are your feelings about it. If it's creating fear, anxiety in front of you, what is it creating inside of you? Janice's feeling great. Yeah, I know. I want my choice. That's the thing about America. We get a choice, but it's slowly seeming like, we don't have a choice. So it's going to be interesting to see. When I thought, well, I'm a traveling girl. So I guess if I'm going to have to take it to travel, then I guess I'm going to have to take it to travel. I travel for my business. I'm always going to conferences to speak to women about their relationship with money. I'm traveling usually twice a year, taking my son on a vacation, and then going on a vacation myself with my mastermind group. I'm going to the quick stops around from California, which is Mexico. It's 2 hours, no, hour and a half, I think, to get there. So all that gets shut down if I don't agree to this process. And right now it's just speculation, sure. But I want you to tap into how you're feeling and what's frightening you, because that's sapping your energy. That's zapping you of vital energy that you need to continue to stay in this process. It will get worse before it gets better, because as we keep, as Janet was just saying, we want choice. Well, people want a choice to go and see their families. So everybody's in line to take the test. Now, unless something changed, what I understood about the test is you take the test, you get your results in 3 days. The test is only good for 24 hours. So by the time the person has taken the test here, got on a flight, flown wherever they're going, been around their family members, they could be contaminated, even though they may have had a test here that said they were negative. And the test is only good for an hour. That hasn't changed. So it's really interesting what we're willing to say to ourselves to have what we want to have. I'll go get a test before I leave that says I'm negative, and then I can fly. Not necessarily. Whoever you sit next to on the plane could be positive, particularly since now the airlines are going to give up that middle seat. So I just want you to be aware of how you're feeling and how you're being impacted by what you may or may not be hearing on the news or on Spectrum One or on some of the other channels. And then be able to sit with those feelings. Now, we don't have that control, that because it involves everyone. It's interesting because you can't get everybody to wear a mask. How do they think they're going to get everybody to take a vaccine? We always have those of us who are individuals that are saying, no, I'm not going to do it just because everybody else is doing it. I just want you to engage on you, on how you're feeling, how you're navigating through this experience. So you're taking your temperature overall. You're looking at the areas where you find yourself in fear. You're either talking to someone about that, and you're measuring whether or not that is something that you need to go into deeper conversation with a mental health worker about. You don't get to hurt yourself on my watch. You don't get to come up to any absolute, I can't take it anymore on my watch. No, that ain't happening. Send me a personal message to let me know. Connect with someone, mental health worker, counselor, AA, so that you know you're here for a reason. You're on this planet at this time for a reason, and it's no accident. So the question simply becomes, how do you navigate this experience better? Now, once you've done those, and depending on where you end up in that scenario, the next thing I want you to do is take action. Why is everybody going the same way I walk? Why are you guys all going up here? Nobody used to walk up this hill. Now everybody's walking this hill. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so the last thing I want you to do then is decide your action. What's the action you're going to take? Based on what you know about yourself, based on what you know that you need, based on what you know that you need to do to move to that place where you feel supported. Because it's really just about you feeling supported. What is it, the action you need to take? Now, for some of you, it'll be, I see Janice says, preventative prep, PPE, preventative prep, and prayers. So, you have prayers. Of course, you can always pray. And I'm always telling people, stop bugging God. Stop bugging God for the solution. Stop bugging God for the answer. Stop bugging God and saying the same prayers over and over and over. God heard you the first time. What you want to do after that first prayer is listen to what the guidance and the direction is regarding what you're supposed to do in response to your question. But what is the action? What is the action? Do you need more sleep? Do you need to not look at the television all the time? I have a friend who kills me. I was talking to her over the course of a day. When she got up in the morning, she turned on the TV to check it out. When I talked to her later on in midday, she was on TV checking it out. Later on that evening, she was on TV again. I was like, girl, why are you on TV so many times? They're telling you the same thing over and over. So we get to control that. We may not be able to control whether we get a vaccine or not. We get to control if we're healthy. We get to control what we expose ourselves to. Is that better? We get to control the decisions we make about our life. We get to control the choices we're going to make for our health. That's in our power. That's not up to them. We get to decide we're going to wear these masks or not. Not only just for us, but for others. So what is the action you're going to take? After you've said your prayer and you've released it, you don't get to pray for that anymore. You get to trust that God, life, and the universe is acting on that request. So how do you get yourself prepared to receive whatever you ask for? Sorry, I changed cars today and I didn't have my earbuds in there. How do you get to prepare yourself for what it is you're asking the universe for? See, we do a lot of praying. Oh, God, help me this. However you define that presence, power, support me with this and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The universe says yes. Oh, yeah, I'm sure the universe says yes. Now it comes time for us to take the action to support the request that we made. We seem to forget our part. It's just not up to God to do everything and go, foof, foof, foof. Okay, it's all taken care of. If you know anything about the universe and God by now, it doesn't work that way. You get like breadcrumbs and you have to follow the breadcrumbs. You have to take action. Do you need more sleep? Do you need to eat better? It is so easy to be junk food craved these days. I haven't had any. I don't eat junk food. But, that's not true. I have potato chips in my house and some popcorn for a friend of mine that comes over, part of our family. And I said the other night, I need to throw this out because I'll munch on it. If it's not here, I won't eat it. So what actions will you take for yourself to take care of you? Ain't nobody coming to our doors to rescue us per se. No one's going to come to us and say, hey, excuse me, you should not be eating all that bread with all that butter, all those pancakes, all those Cheetos and all those potato chips, all that candy and all that sweet. No, because as far as America's concerned, that gives them another reason to put you on some more medicine and get some more money out of you. That's the power we have, is to decide and choose the quality of life we're going to live and what it's going to look like. So those are the three. That's the three I want you to do today. Get a check on where you are from 1 to 10. How do you normally live your life? Normally. Are you normally at a 7? Are you normally at an 8? And how close are you to that? Then I want you to see, what's your biggest fear? What is that biggest fear? If it's housing, then who can you connect with to look at whatever resources may be available for you and your family? If it's food, where are the food drop-offs to get the food so that you have the support that you need for you and your family? If it's anxiety, the thing about anxiety is that there's some interesting things in nature after they've died, so to speak. Anxiety, worry, fear, frustration, all of that is really something we get to navigate. Because usually with anxiety, it's what we're telling ourselves about the situation. And it always seems to start with, oh my God, are we going to have to do this? Or, oh my God, what's going to happen with this, this, and this? So that's what made me hop on today, even though there's something else I wanted to talk to you about, was to at least say to you, it's okay. It's okay to call a mental health worker. And what makes it even better now, because I have several colleagues who are social workers right now and therapists, you can do it online. You can do it virtually. It's not like you have to go into an office and anybody sees you going to therapy if you were concerned about that. You get to do it online. So while it may seem like there's so much in the world you don't have control over, other people wearing masks, how much you can be outside, you do have control over you, your health and your happiness in this very moment. That's not up to the president, the election system. That's not up to anyone else but you. So check in and see where you are on a scale of 1 to 10, where you would normally be, like this time last June, at the height of the summer. Ask yourself the simple question, what am I afraid of? Because if we're in a war, so to speak, not a war, but if we're in a time of evolution and transformation, we don't have time to be in anger. we want to be as clear as we can to make sure that we're sending that positive energy out into the universe. And then after you do that, you want to check in with yourself and see, who do I need to talk to? Do I need to talk with someone around mental health? Do I need someone to talk to me about depression and feeling sad, that I'm not going to make it, that I want to hurt myself, I want to hurt the other people in the household I live with? I like to see the cars coming toward me. I'm having struggles with my medicine because I'm having struggles with money. Don't hold on to those old things we grew up with about, oh, don't tell anybody about what's happening in our family. Don't tell anybody what's going on in our business. Don't tell our business. You know, there's a lot more physical abuse happening on the planet now that couples are around each other. I mean, it's amazing to think about how life was lived before. It was really kind of on automatic pilot because we were so busy. Getting up, getting the kids to school, getting to work, using our lunchtime to go run errands, take care of things, pay bills, go shopping, coming back to work, finishing work, maybe running to the gym, maybe picking up kids, maybe doing a couple of errands for parents, getting home, cooking dinner, hassling about homework, getting homework done, getting baths done, getting kids to bed by 9 o'clock, and then staying up to 12 or 1 o'clock doing what we had to do. That was a heck of life. And I know that wasn't everybody's life, but what I want to point out is that's the way we were living life, that kind of rigor. Now, all that's come to a stop for some, because the more traffic I see makes me think there's really quite a few essential workers. But some people are still doing that in addition to the stress of the virus. But we have been slowed down somewhat. And then for others who are essential workers who have always worked, it's just become a conundrum in your life because you get up and go to work. The kids don't go to school, so now you have to worry about what's going to happen to them. Who's going to make sure they do their schoolwork? Who makes sure they get their homework? Who makes sure all that happens? And you still have to come home and deal with whatever when you get there. So I'm realizing that all our lives and stages we're in are different. But at some point, we all have to take the time to check in on ourselves. Nobody's coming around to check in and say, are you okay? They may be coming around for the census. They may be coming around to see who you voted for. But no one's coming saying, Jana, David, Constance, Kat, are you okay? So this is what you and I get to do. And that's the wisdom that I have for you today. Check on yourself. Measure where you used to be. Measure where you are. Ask what you're angry about. The last thing is to take action. And if you can look at, number one, where you used to be, and look at where you are, the action you would take is to begin to see how do you move yourself closer to the way it used to be. Or, since we can't go back, what new? What do you need to do new and different that maybe you haven't done before? How do you spend time with yourself different than you did in the past? How do you spend time with your family and friends different maybe than you did in the past? Maybe it's time to look at some new ways of interacting and new ways of being. That's part of what this is. We can't be the same way. We can't think the same way in a sense. We always have to now think about ourselves and others more and more and more, particularly in our decision making. So that's the Wednesday wisdom. I want you to check on you. How are you? What's your gauge? You know better than anybody else. What are you afraid of? And some people say, I'm not afraid of anything. And I get it. Today, in this moment, I'm not afraid of anything either. If I have to take the vaccine, fine. Especially if it means I'm going to be able to do some traveling because that's how I work my business. And then what action is my regimen for health started with like 2 or 3 bottles. I think I may have had some alkaline water and, that's what it was, counterattack, and I had vitamin C. My self-care has even increased. I looked at my counter today. I have vitamin C, I have vitamin D, I have, I have BioFlex for my joints because I'm always walking and hiking or something. I have CoQ10. I didn't have it, but I added that in recently. I guess it's good for your heart. Turmeric. Turmeric's part of the plan. I'm trying to look at all this. I have brain octane because I can't remember a doggone thing, it seems like, except for when I can. I got, what's that over there? What is that? It's some cinnamon. I have that. I have another bottle of this really great stuff I got from Randy Jackson that's good for your gut. So I got that because I have to make sure my gut healthy as I'm going. And I think that's about it. But it's expanded to about 10 different things now. So be willing to give yourself and give your body what it needs because it is under stress. No matter what. Just living right now can seem stressful to many. But you and I get to do that on our own. It's a time to pay attention to ourselves, time to pay attention to our needs, time to pay attention to what it is that we're going to need to get through this. We've got a ways to go. We've got to get past the holidays. If we stay put here, this is where I'm going to stay put, then that helps it not spread as much because we know people traveling are going to come back with the virus. There's no way for them not to. Somebody's going to come back with the virus from wherever it is that they're going. So then we'll have to deal with that. Then after that, we've got the vaccine and how that's going to be given and who it's going to be given to. So we've got a road ahead and we have to be the caregivers for ourselves, assessing what we need, when we need it, and then be willing to take the action. And that's what I have for you today, those 3 tips. What do we need? How come we need it? And then be willing to take the actions for you. Because baby girl and baby boy, no one's going to come knock on your door and say, what do you need? Are you okay? So don't be afraid of mental health anymore. They've made it pretty simple for us. You can do it virtual. You can do it over your computer, or you can just do it over the phone and get the support and the assistance that you need. Riding this wave won't go well if the whole time you're in fear. You want to be strong in your faith, whatever that is. You want to be strong in your knowingness in what is forever. There's that of life that is unchanging. There's that of life that is constant. You want to draw closer and closer to that that's constant. Wow, when I'm walking, it doesn't look like it. But now that I got up here to the top, there's a big, huge palm tree back there that is just beautiful. I don't know if you can really see it. But anyway, I always love admiring God's nature. So that's what you really want to focus on for you. And make this something that you do on a regular basis. When you get up in the morning, just do a scan of yourself. How am I? From 1 to 10. Okay, I'm at 8. And when you're at 8, just ask yourself, okay, what would get me to 10? Just so you know. What am I afraid of? Today, my crazy coworker who does this and this, or my coworker who doesn't wear their mask, or I'm not afraid of anything. I'm good. Who do you need to talk to? What actions do you need to take? Well, I probably need to drink more water than I do right now. I probably need to get more sleep because the energy on the planet is heavier. And I really do need to keep the promise to myself to walk every night or every morning. And then go on about your day. But check you on a regular basis. And when you find yourself on that scale 1 to 10, and you're in the 2s, and you're in the 3s, and you're there for more than 4 or 5 days, be willing to pick up the call and take care of yourself. Be willing to pick up the call and take care of yourself and get the support you need. Jenenne Macklin, your transformational speaker, wealth guide and catalyst. You can find me at www.JenenneMacklin.com. I truly am here to empower women to step into their financial freedom and wholeness, to live a life of joy and fulfillment, to reach all the dreams that you're willing to put into action for and take the action for, and to live the highest life that you choose to live on this planet. Take good care. Have a great day. Joan, take care. Jan, good to see you. Kat, I'm sure you'll get this later on. Constance, I hope you're doing well and your family's well. I'm doing better, getting here closer to 9, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Bye for now.